Well, there it is, WTiiWarcraft here with yet another again. I'm not even going to redo that. Yet another Witty Reacts video, this time covering Jim Sterling's video in regards to Blizzard makes its fans angry again with the dodgy and legally grasping Warcraft III Reforged. So this one's probably going to be crude if I'm to understand Jim Sterling's videos, of which I've seen quite a few. He likes the Boglins. I actually really like Boglins. I remember there's a talent competition in primary school, and everyone had to do their own little act. And someone came up on stage and puppeteered a Boglin and did a little sort of comedy act, and he won. It was good. A lot of you probably don't know what Boglins are. He'll probably mention it in the video most likely. All right, so let's review this and essentially give criticism and covering points that might be raised. So be ready, because this one might shock you a little bit.
To say is a shock. It's unprecedented. It's the most mind-blowing thing in the history of ever, so I hope you're sat down before you hear what I have to say. Here goes. Blizzard has upset people. I know, this is an unheard of crisis, if we're being perfectly honest. We are in the situation room right now. But Blizzard has released Warcraft III Reforged and, well, people aren't very impressed with the game itself. It has not lived up to expectations, it is not considered the major upgrade people were expecting, and the really spicy part is a change to Blizzard's acceptable use policy for Warcraft 3 Reforged that states any customizations you make to the game, any changes, any modifications are owned by Blizzard. The policy says, custom games are and shall remain the sole and exclusive property of Blizzard. Without limiting the foregoing, you hereby assign to Blizzard all of your rights, title, and interest in and to all custom games, including but not limited to any copyrights in the content of any custom games. If, for any reason, you are prevented or restricted from assigning any rights in the custom games to Blizzard, you grant to Blizzard an exclusive, perpetual, worldwide, unconditional, royalty-free, irrevocable license enabling Blizzard to fully exploit the custom games or any component thereof for any purpose and in any manner whatsoever. You further agree that should Blizzard decide that it is necessary, you will execute any future assignments and or related documents promptly upon receiving such a request from Blizzard in order to effectuate the intent of this paragraph. To the extent you are prohibited from transferring or assigning your moral rights to Blizzard by applicable laws to the utmost extent legally permitted, you waive any moral rights or similar rights you may have in all such custom games without any remuneration. Without limiting Blizzard's rights or ownership in the custom games, Blizzard reserves the right in its sole and absolute discretion to remove custom games from its systems and or require that a custom game developer cease any and or all development and distribution of a custom game. Please note that your Blizzard account can be subject to disciplinary action in event that you do not comply with Blizzard's request or this policy.
Right, I wanted to wait until Jim had actually finished reading that out, because obviously we've covered over a little bit of this in the previous video in regards to custom games and Blizzard's treatment of map makers. I said it before, I still say it again, I think this is really disgusting. Like, this is actually genuinely one of the worst things that have come from Reforged. It's a mockery, essentially, of the relationship that Blizzard have with their community. Is custom games have been a huge reason why Warcraft 3 still stands to this day. How much longer, I don't know, but at least up until the point of Reforged coming out. So much work, time, effort, just dedication. People weren't making money off it before. A lot of people, at least. I don't think many people, if any. They just did it because they loved it. And it will be the same for them, but it's really the introduction of this policy is really, it's just an insult is what it is, because a lot of these people making these maps, they're not going to bring them onto Steam and then sell them anyway. But it's now this horrible feeling of, oh, so now anything I do on this doesn't belong to me. It just feels like creepy and horrible, as if someone's hovering over your back and just ready to steal any good ideas you come up with. It makes you feel lethargic. It makes you feel unmotivated to actually continue a passion, a hobby, because that's what this was. People creating custom games was a hobby. It was something they loved to do, and now that's gonna. I mean, you kind of killed the buzz, the vibe. It's not like a sloth on your back. No, a sloth wouldn't be able to reach fast enough to grab the money. But that's what I think is the biggest problem with this policy. Is it was just something that didn't need to be introduced. It just felt like. I mean, it's just like, in case you wondered whether Blizzard didn't care, now you know. It's like that kind of thing. You weren't sure, but you didn't mind because there was no solid concrete proof. Well, now this is like, well, we really don't give a shit. Oh, hello there. Epson, how you doing? I will not update that just yet, but thank you for the reminder. Let's continue.
Well, that's quite comprehensive. I mean, it looks like the user policy got a more extensive and comprehensive overhaul than Warcraft 3 itself. At least according to many fans who are pissed off, which again is so unusual for Blizzard. So yeah, Warcraft 3 Reforged, a remaster of the original Warcraft 3, if you couldn't tell from the name, has been a bit of a disappointment among people who expected more, primarily because Blizzard made them expect more. Now, I'll get back to all the legal stuff in a bit. Let's go through some of the other complaints. Cutscenes have proven to be one of the biggest sticking points. People were expecting big changes, big dynamic changes to cutscenes in the game, chiefly because Blizzard showed some pre-release cutscene material, and it looks way better in that than it does in the finished product. So for comparison, we will look at the Warcraft 3 culling campaign trailer that Blizzard put out, and then we'll see the same cutscene they showed off.
So yeah, there's going to go over the cutscene section now, and obviously the promises that people were expecting, what with the advertising. And the thing is, the website, I believe to this day, unless they've changed it and backtracked, which I doubt, probably still shows that Cullen of Stratham. So it's rough because you can't really promise something and then not deliver, and that's where the issue is. You can sort of insinuate or say we aim to do this or we would like to, but it's not guaranteed. It's like, no, this is what you're supposed to be getting.
In a gameplay video that Gameplay World uploaded, so let's have a look at those.
Oh no, we're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead. This entire city must be purged.
What? Oh no, we're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead. This entire city must be purged. What?
There was a lot promised with Warcraft 3 Reforged,
So
not
stiff.
just the cutscenes, which as you can see are quite different. The user interface was supposed to be redone, there was supposed to be a lot more dialogue recorded for the new version, and while there have been some tweaks and additions, it is nowhere near the dramatic remaster,
Some of the only dialogue you've really got with Warcraft Reforged that counts as new is technically the death sounds. So I think many of us are actually wondering or hoping that there might be a feature where that's a toggleable feature. You can turn on or off the additional death sounds. Because when characters die now, they don't just sound exactly the same. Like a peasant just doesn't make the same noise. Or you'll get different variations. And sometimes it doesn't always feel like it fits with the unit. And this goes for like grunts and every other unit. It's an interesting one. But it feels like it's one of the few things that managed to get into the game because it was probably one of the cheapest and easiest things to implement. So, yeah, not great. OP says, unless you play in non-English, then you get a new dialogue. Oh, right, okay, I wasn't aware of that. But apparently the voice acting is terrible. I can't criticize on that because I play with the English version.
overhaul that people have been led to expect. The UI has stayed more or less the same. There have been some changes made to voice lines, but not big redos. It seems that the entire remaster has scaled far back from where it was originally supposed to be, and, you know, people aren't too fond of that. Now, can you guess what the Warcraft 3 subreddit is like?
Happy.
Let's have a look. So I thought it'd be fun if we could,
I need to do this at
stroll
some point.
through the Warcraft 3
Have a little
subreddit
perusal.
together.
That was
So-
another thing I was thinking about for a future video if people are interested in that, is just sort of going over like some of the comments and maybe doing voiceover for it. I should really get like one of those kind of boxes that can modulate your voice as well. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe I'll look into that. No, this is something I intended to do a long time ago, Flawless. But it's like, obviously there's going to be outrage on the forums or in the subreddit, and it's kind of fun to sort of imitate the people that are essentially giving that outrage, to give them a voice, so to speak, but with a little bit of flair. At least because I enjoy the voice acting aspect of things. I don't do any voice acting, but I love it. And I'm always looking for an excuse to do it, so to speak. So I wouldn't mind giving it a go. Not the trucker voice. If I do the trucker voice, I got no throat left for the rest of the day. It destroys my voice box. Greetings, Sleepy.
Here we go. Look, there's a nice little banner there. It says Warcraft Reforged. 17 years of Warcraft 3. Very exciting. Let's see. Okay, so we've got patch notes here, you know, blah, 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 boring stuff. Warcraft 3 Reforged, refund request denied, breaching Australian consumer law. I think we've had a story like that before. Oh, no, it was a recent thing, wasn't it? They, I can't remember what the game was, but there was some other company that got in trouble over the Australian refund thing. I'll look that up and bring it up in a bit. Who else came to this subreddit for the first time just to see the carnage? They say, let's read that one. Let's have a look. Jokes aside, I'm legitimately sad to see a game I grew up with treated so poorly. Here's hoping the reaction forces Blizzard's hand so everyone can get what they thought they paid for if they don't get a refund before then. P.S. RIP custom maps. So there we go. They were there just to see the carnage, which I guess, you know, that's what we're here for. Look, a meme. I love memes. Is this memes? Sir Kyle, pre-order doesn't mean shit. Okay. When you pre-order a game, you're just, I should click on it really. When you pre-order a game, you're just committing to paying for something that some assholes in California haven't even finished working on yet. You know what you're getting from pre-ordering a game of Big Dick in Your Mouth. I can't remember if that's from the actual thing. It must be. I haven't watched that one in years. That's the I haven't
actually played that.
The Stick of Truth, wasn't it? That
Stick of Truth, no.
I don't really watch South Park anymore. Used to watch it. Then I got a job. Blizzard... I don't even know what I meant by that. I don't even know. I mean, if you haven't got a job, I mean, you know, don't feel bad about it, you know, unless you're wanting. Blizzard just proved again... It's not like I got a real job. Blizzard just proved again that their company is a fucking joke. A fucking joke.
Fucking joke.
All right. So this is stuff about the maps again, the intellectual property of the maps, the ownership that Blizzard has on anything you create within, which is basically because Blizzard slept on the MOBA train and they don't want to be in a position where that happens again. This one's fun. Reforged. There's a meme. Look, it even says meme, you see. There's that one where the Jesus face got scrubbed.
There are so many memes of Reforged right now. I honestly think that might even be another video in itself, is just to compile all of the memes and review them. Like, even just for a few seconds each, you'd probably still have enough for like 15 minutes probably. There's a lot of stuff that's come out, and it's unfortunately quite accurate, most of them. So, pretty comical, most of them.
Got scrubbed all up. I'm rubbing my hand on the desk to make a scrub. I mean, that just is going to sound bad in the microphone. But anyway, it's when that person scrubbed that Jesus and then it went all mashy. So Reforged, that's the joke of it. Here's another one. Blizzard pulled out a spell card on us. Hearthstone. I know what that is. Can I have a popular Twitch channel now? So yeah, basically they've just gone all in on the memes now. Having a glass of water while I go through this. Yeah.
Is Warcraft 3 Reforged actually the worst one of all of them? Is that the stage we're at? where Blitzchung ban and do you guys not have phones has actually been surpassed by Warcraft 3? Is it just because Warcraft 3 is the latest one, so it's the more relevant one? Or is it actually worse than those two things that have occurred in very recent times? Whew.
You versus the Ghost she tells you not to worry about. You got Warcraft 3 Reforged, Age of Empires Definitive Edition 2 there. I've seen that come up before in comparisons. I've seen some people, I've gone through comments and backlash to this, and I've seen people say, well, you know, we might as well just get AoE. Until the Sky Rain Fire and a new enemy came on. I don't get that.
Yes.
I'll look at Limbo with the user reviews, the user score on Metacritic, and that's a fun joke because it's going under that. Which it did, according to this, because now it's 1.5, not 1.9. So, to answer this immediately, they asked that 11 hours ago, can we go lower? And then 3 hours ago, they got their answer, yes. Yes. Telling people how to refund Warcraft 3 Reforged makes you get banned. For some reason, as I was scrolling down, I misread that just then as telling people how to refund Warcraft 3 Reforged makes you get a boner, which I'm...
This feels almost about as lazy as the video I'm currently doing right now, where I'm reviewing and just essentially watching and giving some criticisms. He obviously has been winging this video. It is not quite super prepared, and it is very much go with the flow. So let's continue. It's a matter of taste, and it's a harsh taste, but he does actually do very good Jim Sterling Inquisitions are very good because he's more concise with that.
Sure, it does for some people, or, you know, a wet spot or whatever it is you've got going on, you know. However you communicate your sexual anticipation / boner equivalent. Spot the difference at 2002 to 2020. They're saying there's no difference, okay? None. Look, this charts the drop. 1.7, 1.6, 1.5. It's getting swarmed on Metacritic. That whole thing has just pissed everyone off. Look! Star Wars! I get that reference. Anyway, look, it's just this over and over and over. This happens. We know this happens now on Reddit. You know, people get pissed off at a game, and then the subreddit becomes really fun to read for a while. So, you know, full of memes, full of criticisms. People aren't happy. People aren't happy. Complete reimagining, which it ain't, you know. That's the thing. Plans change. Things scale back, but the sheer volume of scaling back, plus it's been pointed out that some of the stuff that's not representative of the game, that's not representative of the lack of scale when it comes to changes, basically some of the images that are not representative of the game are still being used.
Can I just point out how well that is actually done? Like, who's the guy that worked on this? Because I've yet to take a look at that website. I've had a brief glimpse because I think I saw like a video of someone showing it off, but that is not easy to do, by the way. To get that kind of red furnace glow on the actual letters themselves. It blends in incredibly well. Not someone that worked on Reforged, clearly. Ah, yikes. Wham. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up going over the Warcraft Refunded website at some point. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that today or not, but yeah, it's... Isn't it just gradient? Yes and no. There's gradient, but there's also a kind of a glowing effect, as in a fiery effect, as in a forge, where the other letters have that benefit as well. It's harder to pull off than it looks. It might look simple to you, but I think that's harder to do because I do things like I do thumbnails and Photoshop. I got a lot to learn though. I'm not very good at it. I've only learned how to do thumbnails from basically creating them on YouTube. I haven't actually learned anything else otherwise, but that's quite tough.
To advertise the game on websites and stuff like that. So, you know, the whole thing's a bit of a pisser, really. So anyway, that's what the Reddit looks like. Hope you had fun looking at that. So let's go back, let's circle back before we leave and look at that legal stuff again. Some people have pointed out that there are similar user agreements out there. Basically, if you are making custom content, making custom maps, custom game types, modifications, anything to change an original game, you know, a game owned by a company, be careful because they may want to essentially just dominate anything you make without royalties or whatever. Why this story is so juicy is that Dota, the thing that kicked off the MOBA trend, which was, you know, really big for a while and made Valve a mint, that was originally conceived as a mod for Warcraft 3. And Valve saw how popular it was, got in there, hired the modder, and then began work on Dota 2, which of course would turn out to be a huge success. Blizzard wasn't too happy about that. There were legal challenges to the ownership of the thing, but you know, Valve's kept Dota going, and Blizzard attempted to crack into the MOBA market with its own title, the Heroes of the Storm. We all know what happened there. They eventually gave up on it, but it looks like they don't want to be in that situation again, and so here we are. Any customizations you make to Warcraft 3 Reforged is Blizzard's. So basically, if you have any original ideas, if you have an idea that you think is going to catch on and become a big community thing, and something there might be money in, don't do it in a Blizzard game. Do it.
And that's where the real problem is stifling creativity. You might come across someone that comes across something that is actually phenomenal, but they still don't have the intention to sell it or do anything, but they'll never make that game for the community to play and enjoy because of this policy. It is very off-putting, it's very obtrusive, it's very violating in a lot of ways. So that's what really hurts me in many aspects as well, as someone that enjoys custom games and plays a lot of them on the channel, is all these kind of crazy wacky ideas that people come up with for those. So a lot of people are just going to walk away now. This might have been the excuse that they were looking for to walk away. The project that they were halfway through working, they're just like, well, what's the point now if Blizzard can have it? Even if it's not true that Blizzard are going to have it because they're never going to sell it or whatever, it's still there. It's still this thing that just lingers over like a bad smell or something.
Somewhere else, somewhere where you may be able to benefit from it. But then again, more and more, I can't recommend enough doing nothing with a Blizzard game up to and including playing the fucking thing. They do just seem to be getting worse and worse, which I find funny because, you know, when I started criticising Blizzard's business practices, they could do no wrong. Their shit smelled like barbecue ribs, but welcome everyone to the party. I've kept some cake for you. That's a lie. I ate it because I'm fat.
He's fat. Get it? All right. Well, there you go. That's a rather brief overview of many of the issues that have been afflicting Warcraft Reforged, amongst all the other videos that we have seen. And there's apparently more of them, but I'm not sure how many more of these I'm really going to go over and review. I do want to do the refunded website because a lot of people are going to essentially be rehashing over the same points. And I tried to diversify the videos, some that sort of focused on the map making aspects, some that focused on the Metacritic, so that way it's more focused on its own individual aspect, and that's the topic we're taking over. Yeah, if I do 50 of these, the same things are going to be coming up a lot. So yeah, we'll pause there for now. It's your boy Asmongold, the literal god. Literal god. And many of you are Asmongold as well. You are also literal gods because you got 26 out of 26 in my Ultimate Warcraft 3 quiz, didn't you? And you somewhat regretted it afterwards. Alrighty.